Hey, hey, hey. Happy holidays. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, amazingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. This is live stream 998. That's right. Next Tuesday will be live stream 1000. And no, I will not have confetti or anything like that, fireworks. Yeah, I'll have indoor fireworks here in the Duct Tape Studios. We'll do that. So welcome aboard. If you're not overly familiar with this show, you can tell right off the bat, absolutely not serious at all. Very, very casual here in these parts as I share the latest in tabletop gaming news and share a first look at a tabletop game. Tonight, we're going to continue our Everyday Heroes week with a look at two cinematic adventures for Everyday Heroes. We're going to take a peek at The Crow, as well as Escape from New York. So these are both on the agenda for tonight. If you are tuning in because you want to see the live first looks at both The Crow and Escape from New York, do want to let you know we tackle the tabletop gaming news first around here. So it'll probably be about 35, maybe 40 minutes before we get on into the first looks. So just want to let you know. Now, of course, if you are watching live, kick back, put your feet up, relax. We'll get there. We'll get to those first looks. Got some cool tabletop gaming news tonight as well. So I've been running around. It's been pretty crazy. I just got down into the Duct Tape Studios, and as I start the stream, I recall that I have forgotten to do something. So I will try to see if I can sneak that in there quickly tonight. Don't know if I'll be able to or not, but you never know. You never know. Yes, okay, fine. I forgot to update the brief intermission. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I think I can sneak it in there relatively quickly. We'll find out. Anywho, if you are watching live, like I said, hang out. We'll get to the first looks in just a bit. But if you are tuning in 30 minutes or more after the show has ended, there will be timestamps. So if you are an impatient type, and you know if you are, you'll be able to jump ahead with those timestamps, get right on into The Crow as well as Escape from New York. Now, of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Lastly, because this is a live show, there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you must be a subscriber to the Gaming Gang channel for at least 48 hours before you can take part in chat. Yet another way I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, maybe you got a question, comment, maybe there's something about The Crow or Escape from New York you want to get a closer look at, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. First out the gate tonight is our friend, the Motor City Madman. Yes, the Madman is with us. He is one of our chat moderators. Kevin King and Viper Dave, as well as Kathy Evans, are with us early in chat, too. So welcome to you all. I will take a guess. Another of our chat moderators, Sarah D., might be hanging out with us. So howdy, Sarah, if you happen to be lurking in the shadows. So let's get down to brass tacks. Let's jump on into the news. As I mentioned before, I've got a cool mix of news tonight. I usually have a cool mix of news. And if you're curious, yes, I will talk a little bit about the goings-on with Hasbro in just a little bit, too. Making its way into stores next month is EOS Island of Angels. Here's the latest from Gray Fox Games. In ancient times, powerful angels held strong against the demonic creatures crawling out of the abyss on the island of Eos. One day, though, they were tricked. The angelic guardians were turned into stone, and demons flood the world ever since. Eons later, a captain named Kareem found a petrified angel on a remote rock off the shores of an island. Kareem managed to awaken the angel Leonis, who told him about the island of Eos and gifted him with immortality. In return, Kareem swore an oath to awaken Leonis' brothers and sisters who were still petrified on Eos. Together, they would fight back the demons, forcing them to return to the abyss they came from and freeing the world of their dark powers once again. EOS Island of Angels is an exciting engine builder board game for 2 to 5 players, which also includes some worker placement mechanics. Players hire a unique asymmetrical crew and set sail to the island of, you guessed it, Eos, to free the angels of old and leave their mark on this mythical world's chronicle. Be wary, though. While exploring the ocean, vicious demons will attack the ships and crews. Fighting them and their powerful demon lords will bring players glory and help restore the angels' power. Through awakening angels, players can gain powerful blessings that pose as an advantage to their strategy, while demons sabotage the ship, resulting in disadvantages. EOS Island of Angels is a fast-paced game which allows for a thrilling adventure while players optimize their strategies on the go. Finding the perfect balance between progressing on their journey and fighting demons while improving their ship and crew is key for players to gain the most victory points. EOS Island of Angels is for 2 to 5 players, ages 12 and up, plays in 90 to 120 minutes, and the standard retail edition will carry an MSRP of $69.99 when it lands in stores on January 5th. Could be kind of interesting. You know, I'm a sucker for engine building games. I like tableau builders. And I thought this sounded fairly interesting. This had a pretty successful Kickstarter. Now, of course, hitting stores at the same time as the base game will be a couple of expansions. One of the expansions, I believe, has a couple of additional crews, factions that you can utilize. I think the other has some additional play elements through other decks of cards. And there is a deluxe edition. I don't know if it's available in stores or if you can only order it online. Strangely enough, this is actually designed by Racoon Games, who I think they're out of Belgium, and being released here in North America by Gray Fox Games. Gray Fox Games has practically no information about this game on their website. There's a link for you to buy it, but outside of that, that's about it. But if you go to kingraccoon.com, you will find some additional information about the game. Keldon is with us in chat, providing me with a script that I will not be reading. So there you go. And Sarah D is with us once again, working with her glitter and glue, making elf cam and Santa cam ornaments, saying that glitter is the best alternative to batteries for North Pole electronics. Okay, doke. Roger Perdome is with us. Good to see you, Roger. Thanks for hanging with us tonight. Yes, Roger Perdome has joined us in chat. A big shout out to Roger Perdome for joining us. That has nothing to do with Roger. That has to do with Keldon in chat. Moving right along, the Merry Mushmen have the 4th issue of the OSR-focused supplement series, Knock, up for crowdfunding. Here's the scoop. Knock issue 4 is ready to go to press, just waiting for you to pledge. You know the formula. No theme, all mean. Once again, they've cobbled together a bric-a-brac of game design insight, random tables, rule suggestions, monsters, classes, maps, adventures, the lot. They've even added a short series, 12 pages, aimed at post-WotC Meltdown 5e refugees, or just your friends who'd like to bring over to the adventure gaming side of the divide. This book clocks in at 212 pages in beautiful full color, printed on quality paper in, I believe this is actually out of France, if I remember correctly. I think the Merry Mushmen is a French publisher. There is a short video. I will mention that this video is a lot of quick cuts and flashing and things like that. So I don't know if like flashing images causes problems with you. You might want to look away for about a minute and a half, because this is a jangly video. But nonetheless, take a peek right here. The Kickstarter project for issue number 4 of Knock is actually past the 2,100% funding mark. You heard that correctly. 2,100%. You can reserve a copy of the physical book for a pledge of approximately $27, or grab the issue in PDF for a pledge of approximately $7. Exchange rate, you know. Through December 22nd, expected delivery is, wait for it, next month. And that's not just on the digital PDF. That is the physical book as well. They are shooting for a delivery in January for the physical books. That is pretty wild. I do understand this is all good to go to press. So really what this Kickstarter project probably is all about is simply how many copies are they going to order? We have Shanbot V42 with us saying, yes, the Merry Mushmen are out of France. I have shared a few news pieces from the Merry Mushmen over the past 2-3 years. They always seem to have some really cool stuff. I thought at one point that we were in a bit of discussion about maybe having me cover some of their releases. I don't know. Maybe I'm cracking up. Maybe it was a different company because there are a lot of them out there that I got to go back and forth with a little bit. Keldon says they've seen reviews of the other issues of Knock, and they have been good. Yes, I have heard good things about them as well. Gotta say, does have a little bit of a Mirkbig, Morkborg vibe to it. Not terribly so, because I can read what's being presented, but it does seem to have a little bit of that art punk vibe to it. All right, moving right along, let's talk about some more OSR, because the print edition of the Monster Overhaul is now arriving in stores from Skerples and Coins and Scrolls. Here's what I know. What's a swing? I need a sip here. Like I said, I've been running around all day. That's why I was a couple of minutes late getting started with the stream tonight. Let's try that again. What's a sphinx without a riddle? Or a minotaur without a labyrinth? What's a dragon without a horde? Or a peasant without a grievance? The Monster Overhaul is a massive role-playing game bestiary designed for at-table utility. Monsters are presented alongside useful tools ready for immediate use in any scenario. This book aims to provide a game master with the tools they need, as they need them, without slowing down a session. In the middle of a game master doesn't need to be told that bears live in caves or that ghosts haunt graveyards. They know that. What they need are interesting prompts that are difficult to invent under pressure. Names, details, motivations, secrets, riddles, maps, twists, etc. Numbers are calibrated around old-school fantasy adventure game principles. This book should be compatible with and has been tested against the most popular and enduring old-school systems. This 336-page book contains over 200 monsters, over 160 pieces of original art, over 20 maps, as well as random encountered tables, indexes, and a host of other useful tools. It's written by Skerples, the author of the Coins and Scrolls blog, Tomb of the Serpent Kings, Kidnap the Archpriest, Apocryphia, not familiar with that one, Magical Murder Mansion, and Magical Industrial Revolution. The 336-page hardcover of the Monster Overhaul carries an MSRP of $60. And once again, as I mentioned, it is now arriving in stores. I think you could have ordered the hardcover through Coins and Scrolls at a certain point. You may still be able to, but I do understand that the hardcover is now arriving in stores, also with some online retailers out there. But you can also grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $30. And I have heard some really, really good things about the Monster Overhaul, where it is kind of doing a little bit of the work that you would find if you read The Monsters Know What They're Doing sort of thing. So you're getting prompts on how to utilize these NPCs, these creatures, these monsters at the game table as opposed to just having a stat block thrown in front of you and, oh, by the way, goblins can do this. Or, as mentioned in the sell sheet info, bears live in caves and ghosts haunt graveyards. So yes, now you can get the physical edition. So there you have it. Very nice. Like I said, I have heard really good things about the Monster Overhaul. Kevin R. Smith is joining us in chat. Good to see you, Kevin. The final news piece. As I mentioned before, I have plenty of news available to bring you from Mongoose Publishing. Here is yet another Traveler news piece, because now available in print and PDF from the aforementioned Mongoose Publishing is Traveler, the Deep and the Dark. Steeped in history, riven by conflict, and filled with contradiction, The Deep and the Dark covers two sectors at the interface of human and Aslan space, where rival species and civilizations have long contended for influence and power. Here lie the ancient battlegrounds of the Aslan border wars and the cultural purge. Here are found worlds abandoned or ignored for centuries, which shelter strange, isolated societies that have fallen back to primitive conditions. Reaver's Deep lies on the edge of the Great Rift, with a wide buffer zone separating the human systems of the Third Imperium and Soleimani Confederation from the Aslan worlds of the Herite. Within this buffer, independent states and worlds harbor fierce animal life and many alien species, while fierce marauders and petty warlords plague the sector. Into this wild area venture intrepid trade pioneers in search of new opportunities. The Dark Nebula is named for the mysterious Kalela Nebula, a jump space phenomenon that has deviled astronomers and astrogators for millennia. The sector is also the home of Kusyu, homeworld of the Aslan and spiritual heart of their stars-spanning empire. The Deep and the Dark also provides an overview of the complex, ever-shifting politics and nature of Aslan culture. This also includes a giant two-sided poster map of the two sectors. The 280-page hardcover with PDF, if you order from Mongoose Publishing, is available for an MSRP of $69.99, or you can grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $34.99. If you missed yesterday's show, I shared the bundle of holding that is currently out there for Traveler. There is also Traveler Mercenary, which we will talk about on tomorrow's show, which is a bundle of holding. And as I said last night, I understand Traveler Second Edition, or I guess most people refer to it as Mongoose Traveler Second Edition, so that you don't confuse it with Mark Miller's Traveler, which I think it's called Traveler 5. Anyway, I get it. I understand it. It is pricey. For the most part, a lot of it is worth it. Yes, they do have issues with proofreading and errata from time to time. But still, it is a really good system. Right now, you can jump aboard Traveler with that bundle of holding. Get the starter set, and I want to say it is also the Traveler Companion, although it's not the updated 2024 Traveler Companion, which is now available at least in PDF. And then I want to say it's the Vehicle Guide for $17.95, which, if I remember correctly, is less than just the PDF for the starter set. And the starter set are the full rules of the game. It is not like most starter sets for like Pathfinder, D&D, Call of Cthulhu, which, you know, lets you dip your toes into the game. No, it's the actual rule book. It's just broken up into 2 books. So you've got that. And there's a campaign with that starter set too. So this is the latest in the Traveler releases. Mongoose Publishing has been releasing a lot of stuff lately. In fact, they've got a new release for the new edition of Paranoia that just came out. All right, that is it for the news tonight. Of course, I was just talking about DriveThruRPG. Don't forget the Dispatch, of course, meaning the gaming gang itself, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit DriveThruRPG or Dungeon Masters Guild, Storyteller's Vault, Wargame Vault, what have you, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get 5% of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around on a monthly basis. Of course, if you like this video, if you dig the channel, and if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always swing on over to paypal.me/thegaminggang to make a small donation. In fact, if you'd like, you can go and purchase me a 2-liter bottle of soda. And friend of the show, Kevin King, recently popped on by paypal.me/thegaminggang and made a not small donation. So big thank you to all of you out there who utilize the banner ads and or stop by paypal.me/thegaminggang to make a donation. I would not be around without you. And once again, big thank you to all of you out there who donated toward the new laptop. It is keeping us in videos. Yes. So, a couple of things I was going to mention tonight, and both of them have to do with Hasbro-related stuff. So if you're curious, hey, Jeff, how come you haven't shared any content about the Book of Many Things for 5e Dungeons & Dragons from Wizards of the Coast? Well, let me point out that Wizards is doing the same bullshit they did with Planescape. So some reviewers out there, oh man, I use that word so lightly. Some shills out there got their copies of it a month ago, a little more than a month ago, and started sharing coverage of it. People like me, who knows? Who knows when we'll see it? I did actually shoot an email to the creators, D&D creators at Wizards Nonsense account to find out, hey, you know, so what's the deal here? You know, I'd like to know, is this how things are going to be? Because I'd like to inform my visitors and viewers that 2024 is going to be a Dungeons and Dragons and Wizards of the Coast free year from the Gaming Gang if this is how things are going to be. And of course, I get an email back saying, oh, they're off on holiday break. Really? Today is December 13th. And it was like a, you know, just a canned response, right? An auto-generated response. And it said that they would be back, I think it was January 3rd or 4th. But if you were emailing about the Book of Many Things, that they were waiting for the tracking numbers so that they could forward those tracking numbers on. And even though they were on holiday break, they would be getting those tracking numbers out to everybody. Now, I got that same sort of response with Planescape, and I think they said, oh, we're just waiting on tracking numbers about 18 days before I actually got Planescape. So it is looking as if my time covering Wizards of the Coast and Dungeons and Dragons has now ended. After over 13 years of providing coverage for Dungeons and Dragons and Wizards of the Coast, we are now done. Just how it goes. So, if you follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, it's so stupid because now that's what everybody has to say. X, formerly known as Twitter, everybody's got to say that because if you say X, everybody, even though they know it's Twitter, they sit there and go, what the hell is he talking about? Or what's she talking about? What the hell is X? Oh, yeah, Twitter. Anyway, if you follow me on that, I X'd. I guess you don't tweet anymore, huh? It's Xing. That on one hand, I kind of felt sorry for the content creators out there whose channels rely on 5e Dungeons and Dragons because sales are down. Now, granted, the sales numbers for Wizards of the Coast is supposed to be phenomenal compared to the rest of the sales for Hasbro. Well, things that I've been hearing, not so phenomenal. That's why you got a lot of retailers out there who have far too much D&D stock that they are not moving. So I hear sales are down. View numbers are way down. If you take a look at some of these D&D shills out there, and that's what I'll just call them from now on. They're D&D shills. They're not reviewers. They are not journalists. They are not critics. They are influencers. You know how I feel about that? You know how I feel about that term? Same people who sit there and they'll take one supplement and squeeze a dozen or more videos out of one book. Just so, and of course, those videos are always approximately 8 to 10 minutes long because we know how that operates too. So anyway, I was saying, on one hand, I sort of feel a little sorry for them because, you know, their numbers are down. If you take a look, you'll see the view numbers for Dungeons and Dragons related channels are down. Now, granted, does it mean every single 5e D&D outlet is suffering? No, but many are. So on one hand, I sort of feel sorry for those people. And then on the other hand, I don't. Because they lied to their viewers about the quality of recent Dungeons and Dragons releases. No getting around it. They lied to their audience because if your channel, if your outlet relies upon a specific game. Let's say that Gaming Gang was simply all Pathfinder stuff. All I ever covered was Pathfinder. And there are some Pathfinder outlets out there. I tend to find those people seem to be more honest with their audience than 5e D&D. And I think it's probably because there are far fewer outlets out there that only cover Pathfinder, say Pathfinder 2nd Edition, than there are 5e D&D channels out there. But if suddenly Paizo Inc. started screwing the pooch and pissing people off and everything that they released was hot trash, essentially dog shit, those outlets would be in trouble as well. So like I said, on one hand, kind of feel sorry for these folks. On the other hand, you reap what you sow, baby. You reap what you sow. But big news out of this is, I'm done. I'm done with Wizards of the Coast. I don't care if they send me something or not. I'm finished. Because as I had pointed out already, they've downgraded me as far as, my importance or whatever. I'm like, whatever. So I will treat Wizards of the Coast with the same disdain that Wizards of the Coast has decided to treat me with. So it'll now be mutual. So there you go. Madman says, Hasbro continues to not create goodwill with their customers, waiting to see how those one-year subscriptions not getting renewed will affect them. Yeah, there was a lot of talk about that. I don't know. I don't know. The funny thing is, I keep getting a bunch of stuff from D&D Beyond. It's like, man, are they pushing D&D Beyond? And it's essentially, I have a membership. I don't have a subscription. I have a membership because of the, we were getting digital releases of the new D&D books up until Planescape. So that's why I had it, because they would send me the code to redeem, and then you would get it like a week before it came out in stores or whatever, so you could prep. Anyway, oh well, such is life. In a way, I'm kind of sad, because it's a company that I have covered for a long time. I have bounced around doing D&D videos, D&D series, but not Wizards of the Coast. But unfortunately, I'm talking like I have considered maybe ordering some stuff from Dungeon Masters Guild, such as the Moldvay rules, or maybe the Holmes rules, because they have print on demand, and the print on demand's all right. Or I would look on eBay as far as, what's going to be the better deal, which the reality is probably going print on demand with just about everything. Only problem now is Wizards of the Coast is who gets the nut from that purchase. So not going to do that now. But yeah, I had actually considered doing just like an OSR series every month, just sharing thoughts about, say, the basic rules, the expert rules, legendary rules, famous adventure modules. No, not Tomb of Horrors, because I think Tomb of Horrors is trash. I don't know why people, well, I take that back. There are some people who look back at that adventure fondly, but there are a lot of other people who also agree with me, and no, it's garbage. So yes, as Madman's pointing out, they work for a couple of companies that laid off 20% or more of their employees. Both times the companies ended up folding. Well, I certainly don't foresee Hasbro folding. I mean, they are a multi-billion-dollar company. But there's changes on the horizon. I would think that maybe now, see, you would think on one hand they might be more open to selling off Wizards of the Coast, Avalon Hill. They could sell off Avalon Hill whenever, because they don't utilize the vast majority of the licenses and IP that they own from that anyway. But you would think maybe because I know they've been pushed in different directions I know there was a hedge fund that was trying to convince them to sell off Wizards of the Coast. But I think now it's far less likely that they would, simply because they're sitting there with, you know, Wizards of the Coast being one of the only profitable avenues that they've got. So I don't know. But I have been hearing stories from retailers that they have got way too much D&D stock. And as I pointed out, I have noticed that it seems, not just me, that, you know, and I get it, my view numbers for Planescape related stuff would be down because I came to the table with those videos way behind everybody else. So not everybody else, behind the shills, the actual reviewers, the actual critics. I think we all got it about the same time. But I thought maybe, you know, that was the reason why numbers were really, really down. As I pointed out before, I don't think I've cracked 1,000 views on the Planescape review, which is very, very unusual. Just to give you an idea, just the first look at the Pathfinder 2E remastered project player core, which I shared that 2 days ago. I want to say it's 2 days now. Did it come out yesterday? I'm trying to remember. I think that's around 700 views. And once again, that's a book that's been out for a bit. That's a book that's also been out in PDF for quite a bit as well. But it's almost got the same number of views as that Planescape review. And that Planescape review is, what, a month and a half old now already? I don't know. Time flies around here. So, but yeah, I heard now since January 1st of this year, Hasbro has laid off just under a third of their employees. Pretty wild. Ben Collins is with us, driving from Hobbs to Midland, Texas, hanging with the gang. Well, thank you very much, Ben. Hope you're enjoying your ride. And I don't say anything to, force you off the road. So there you go. There's your random musings. And essentially, I'm done. I'm done with Wizards of the Coast. Oh, well. So if Avalon Hill contacts me on stuff, yeah, that's fine because it's completely different. Yes, granted, it is Hasbro, but it is no longer under the Wizards of the Coast umbrella. So Mammoth says they stopped buying anything from Wizards of the Coast after what occurred in January. Yeah, I think it was January. I think the open game license fiasco. They're not keen on spending any money on Hasbro products either. Well, you know me, I really don't spend any money on any products. It's just, review copies of stuff that gets sent along. All righty. So we're going to be diving on in to take a look at The Crow, as well as Escape from New York Cinematic Adventures for Everyday Heroes from Evil Genius Games in just a few moments. But first, it's time for a brief intermission, and I am going to have to swap this video out as quickly as I possibly can. So sit back.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item of fresh appetite. It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item of fresh, appetizing taste treat.
He might not know what to do with all the crazy gifts he'll get this Christmas, but he'll sure know what to do with Old Spice cologne or an Old Spice nautical decanter or one of our many Old Spice gift sets. Old Spice. He'll use it, enjoy it, and love you for it.
Come on, everyone, it's time. Hello, I'm Orville Redenbacher. This is my favorite time of the year, when we Redenbachers get together to share the best of the season. Of course, we pop up plenty of my light and fluffy gourmet popping corn and my gourmet microwave popping corn.
Ready?
You'll say they're the season's best, or I'm not.
Redenbacher.
Great grandpa to you. May your holiday be the best there is.
Have some Wilkins coffee, sir?
If that's all you serve, I'll get off at the next town.
Next town's 5 miles, straight down.
The Action Men from Bonanza. The Cartwrights, the greatest Western toys ever. Little Joe, fastest left-handed draw in the West. Ben, the toughest pioneer who ever rode the plains. And Hoss, always ready for a good fight. You can even get the Outlaw, the meanest desperado you ever saw.
Watch out! He's getting away! Hit him, Hoss! Pow! You got him!
And you can get the trailblazing 4-in-1 Bonanza wagon. Each Cartwright comes complete with over a dozen accessories. Each horse has action hooves. You can buy Little Joe's Pinto, Hoss's Stallion, and Ben's big buckskin. The Action Men from Bonanza will put you right in the Wild West. By American character, the hottest brand around.
Roger Perdome says, wow, Old Spice. I wore that for a while when I was 16, like 40 years ago. Don't want to offend anybody if somebody's still using that. So funny enough, I have heard throughout the years that women still like the smell of Old Spice because it reminds them of Dad. Do not know. I have a bottle of Old Spice that is probably 30 years old, and I'll be damned. Every once in a while, I'll open it up and give it a whiff. Still smells like Old Spice. So I don't know. I don't know what was in it. All righty then. So tonight, we are going to dive on in and take a first look at both The Crow and Escape from New York cinematic adventures for everyday heroes from Evil Genius Games. First up, we'll be taking a look at The Crow, which is written by Chris Goober Ramsley and Rick Hines. This 113-page softcover is available now. It carries an MSRP of $24.99, or you can grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. So let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got The Crow. So let's get the shrink wrap off here. So yes, Everyday Heroes Week continues with a look at these two cinematic adventures. On yesterday's show, we took a peek inside the core rulebook, clocking in at 461 pages for Everyday Heroes. And of course, I will have a review of that in the near future. I think, I might be wrong, but I think these are printed on demand from DriveThruRPG. Some tragedies never rest, even after death. Every culture in the world has myths about our souls traveling to the land of the dead and warnings about their return. But what if you could stare into the eyes of one you once loved, or catch a glimpse of them skipping along on a rain-soaked night, years after you were put in a grave, one last time? How much is that worth? A global wave of violent crime suddenly lights cities ablaze around the world in a revival of the forgotten tradition of Devil's Night. Caught in the crossfire, you can't rest until revenge is had. Or rather, you aren't allowed to rest until the wrongs committed have been set right. With each body put in the grave, another fragmented clue is revealed. Then, without warning, the greatest secret is revealed. You are not alone. Together, you must bring justice upon the one who cracked the mystery of death, even if it sets Motor City ablaze one more time. All right, so let's dive on in here. The fine folks over at Evil Genius Games were kind enough to provide me with these review copies. But please keep in mind, neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. These days, it's very important that you know that. All right, so this is an adventure, so keep in mind if you are a player and your game master has picked up Everyday Heroes as well as The Crow and or Escape from New York, you might want to tune out now, because even though I really don't know anything about what's in this book, well, I mean, I have a clue. There will probably be some spoilers as we flip through. So we're looking here, we've got an introduction, hero options, new rules, game master advice, and then we will get into the adventure. And it looks like the adventure is about 40 pages long, maybe a little less. And then it appears we've got our NPCs. So you may recall, I was talking about yesterday when we were looking at Everyday Heroes that there's a new volume that's come out for it with more rules, and it's called The Vault. I couldn't recall what the title of it is. And I do believe it's all the rules that are included in these cinematic adventures that have been released to this point. So there's rules about giant mechs from Pacific Rim or kaiju from Kong. So here we got our introduction. Trying to remember, I think, isn't the author of The Crow, is it Daniel O. Barr? I should take a look here. I bet you he's in the credits here. He is not. Interesting. But of course, this is based on the film. I think it's only the first film. I think it's only The Crow. So it's not the sequels or the television series, or wasn't it 2 series that they did for The Crow? I read the original Crow comic before the movie actually ever came out, back when I was into a lot of independent comics. So here we have different backgrounds. Yep. So we've got abused, counterculture, cult escapee, near-death experience, occult family, saved by the spirits, street rat, and suicide survivor. Then our professions: bartender, charity, should be charity worker, what do you think? Shop jockey, fortune teller, kid, magician, occultist, pawn shop owner, snitch, starving artist. So we've got a new class, and that new class is reborn. They are a wise hero. You are not truly alive, yet you walk the world once more. You have been returned to the world of the living by a spirit of death to fulfill a purpose, right or wrong, or take your vengeance. This spirit accompanies you on your quest, granting you its gifts to accomplish your task. Only when your mission is complete can you finally rest. The reborn is extremely difficult to put down, unable to truly die so long as their spirit ally is unharmed. They reduce the damage they take and recover quickly from injuries, so long as they have the focus to spend. They also have a variety of additional supernatural powers based on their spirit. At early levels, they will have to carefully decide how to spend their focus, while at higher levels, they can wield their many powers much more freely. So that's kind of wild. So we've got a snake. Looks like a big moth. Get the dog there. Almost looks like a Saint Bernard. And of course, the bird. Oh, cat. Almost missed the cat there on the rooftop. So we've got the butterfly. That's what that must have been, a butterfly. So we've got, these are our masks of death. So we've got the butterfly, the cat, the crow, the mastiff, the moth. Oh, it was a moth. The owl, the snake, and the spider. Speaking of the spider, I always liked the old pulp. There we go, James O'Barr, thank you. I couldn't remember his name off the top of my head, but I remember it was, his last name was O'Barr, or Barr. Thank you, Shantbot V42. But the spider was actually a pulp hero around the same time as The Shadow was out. Because a lot of people don't realize that The Shadow wasn't only a radio show. The Shadow was a series of stories that would come out. Kevin King says they're getting White Wolf vibes. Wonder if the system is superior to what Renegade/Onyx Path have been putting out lately. Well, we do know Everyday Heroes is built upon the 5e D&D mechanics. So we saw that last night. It looked fairly in-depth. The crow. Crows are said to carry the souls of the dead to the afterlife, and there is some truth to this. Crow spirits indeed carry the souls of the tragically deceased, the lost, and the discarded. But if you carry a sadness great enough, a crow spirit may call upon you to right the wrong that keeps you from passing on. And then we get some example quests. What I'm very curious about are the adventures that are included. Because as far as adventures for role-playing games that are based on films, they are kind of hit or miss. But you've heard me talk about this one role-playing game in the past, the James Bond role-playing game, which was from Victory Games. They did really good versions of the movies because they would change things up from the films. So the overall premise would be the same, but a lot of the details would be different. So I remember Goldfinger. Elliot ran Goldfinger. I actually played the secret agent in it. And the finale to Goldfinger was absolutely different than the movie itself. So there was still the game of golf, and Goldfinger cheats at golf, and Odd Job with his hat. So that was all in it. But I think the premise was they were, going to rob Fort Knox, but that wasn't the finale of the adventure. So it was pretty wild. So we have the Soothsayer. So we've got other classes too. You are a seer, gleaning what you can from psychic visions. You gaze into the future as easily as you look into the hearts of your enemies, guiding destiny to your benefit with a deft touch. Soothsayers use their plans to gather information and influence fate. They can perform remote viewing or receive portents of danger. In combat, they mostly take on a supporting role, granting their allies bonuses, but with the right plan, they can also show their enemies terrifying visions, causing them psychic damage. So we've got some of the different feats So we have our spirit servant feats. So if you recall in the movie The Crow would actually interfere with the baddies trying to do things. Flaming Heron says, rest in peace, Brandon Lee. You know, I'm kind of curious. I've always wondered if The Crow became a more popular film because of the death of Brandon Lee. I was kind of had the feeling that maybe it was. I mean, it's still a good movie, don't get me wrong. It was far better than I think a lot of people were expecting. But I think that has led to a little bit of its longevity, I think, is because it was Brandon Lee's final movie, final film. Speaking of actors passing away, I saw yesterday that Andre Braugher passed away. I was like, oh, damn. He was an awesome actor. He was a fantastic actor. And I'd actually listened to some audiobooks that he had read, one of them being Gentlemen of the Road from Michael Chabon, which is kind of an homage to the Fafhrd and Grey Mouser stories, although it's not fantasy. It is taking place in like medieval Jerusalem, like during the Crusades. And in fact, now this is Michael Chabon saying this. He jokingly referred to it as Jews with swords because the two main characters are Jews, but they're also, well, they're not necessarily mercenaries. I would say they are men for hire. All right, so we've got some Game Master tips here. I was going to say the artwork is pretty solid throughout this. Are we getting into, I think we're getting into the adventure now. Yes. So this is an adventure for characters levels 5 or 6. So here's the foreword from Rick Hines. For me, the original Crow comic by James O'Barr, there we go, was a definitive work of art and transformative for my youth. I came into it like most kids in the 90s did. We picked up the copy at the same time the movie came out. Every now and then, we each encounter properties that check every box for us. And given my personal life, The Crow was it for me. I ate up the lore, fell further into urban legends, researched more into the mythology, and became less afraid of death, which at the time surrounded me completely. The Crow, Prayers of the Past, is my story to add to the Crow mythos, and I hope that its tale of revenge and love plays homage to the aspects of the IP that fans have loved over the years. Weaving the tale into the everyday hero's modern universe and designing it so players have a personal connection to this story is my heartfelt goal. Hopefully the story contained allows your table to find beauty in connections we share with one another. And we get a QR code to download the soundtrack. So this is not going to be simply a retelling of the original film, which fine with me. So we've got our session 0. It's going to be an introduction. We're going to set the tone of the game. So we've got Act 1. So I'm wondering how many sessions this is built to play. So Flaming Heron says, could have been that way as far as the longevity of The Crow because of the passing of Brandon Lee. Maybe not too dissimilar to The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger's passing. You know, and strangely enough, I don't look at that the same way. Because Heath Ledger didn't die during the filming. And the reality is it's not necessarily the reason why he died. But plus, The Crow was more of a low budget movie, whereas obviously enough, The Dark Knight was a blockbuster. I mean, in my opinion, Heath Ledger definitely deserved the Oscar posthumously for the role, because I thought he was just phenomenal in it. That is a great movie. So Flaming Heron says, yeah, I forgot there's a Crow movie in the works. Not sure if it's a retelling of the first movie. Just like there is a revamp of Highlander, which they're in the process of. I think it's a movie. I don't think it's a series. I'm just kind of taking a peek through here. So I'm guessing this also takes, I was just about to say, I think this takes place in Detroit, and here you go. The dishonorable old Detroit Police Headquarters. So we have a third act. And then our conclusion, as well as our cast. All in all, I would take a guess we are probably looking at maybe 3 sessions for the adventure, because the acts don't look too long. Although, you may have noticed as we were flipping through, like I did, not a ton of read aloud. There were some read aloud blocks, but not like we usually see. Okay, so here we've got supporting cast. We get the movie antagonist. That's cool. So these are the villains who opposed Eric Draven during the events of The Crow. T-Bird, Fun Boy, Skank, Tintin. That's pretty wild. Then we got Crow City of Angels. So we have them broken up by just type of criminal. So arsonist, serial arsonist. So we got spirits and creatures. Sadly, not a lot of artwork with this. So this is a Gorgon, no doubt. Now we've got the antagonists for the actual adventures. So we've got our NPCs. The maniac, the creep, the dishonorable. Oh, I guess we get Sarah as an adult. So the girl from The Crow. We get some pre-generated heroes. We get a pre-gen soothsayer. Pre-gen omen of disaster. Pre-gen omen of vengeance. Pre-gen omen of love. And pre-gen omen of pain. And we're going to wrap up with our open game license. All right, so that is a Crow. The Madman says, hope they did some research into Detroit so it's represented accurately, not like Bird on the Wire movie representation where you can take a ferry across Lake Michigan from Detroit to Milwaukee. You can't? Really? I thought you could take one from Chicago to Detroit. Yeah, you just climb on board the Edmund Fitzgerald. You're all good to go. All right, next up, we got Escape from New York. So Escape from New York is written by Siegfried Trent, Kim Franson, and Thomas Pugh. Now, this clocks in at, I believe, 128 pages, and it carries the same pricing as The Crow. So the softcover is $24.99. If you want to grab the PDF, it is $19.99. In 1988, the crime rate in the United States rose by more than 400%. New York City, the site of a massive nerve gas attack by the Soviet Union, is transformed into a maximum security prison, covering all the incarceration requirements of the United States. Sealed off from the world by a 50-foot containment wall, it is a society in and of itself. Once you go in, you never come back. As a final security measure, a nuclear bomb has been installed in the head of the Statue of Liberty. While its existence is a closely guarded secret, the revolutionary NLFA have obtained the president's nuclear arming device and are threatening to detonate the bomb unless their demands are met. So, storyline here is different than the movie. The year is now 1993. Your mission is to recover the arming device and codes before all of New York is reduced to radioactive rubble. All right. I remember going and see Escape from New York in the summer with my brother and a couple of our friends from the neighborhood. If I remember right, I think this came out before I went to high school. Did this come out did Escape from New York come out in 1980? All right, so we've got our credits. We've got our forward. We've got our introduction here. Once again, this is another adventure. So if your game master has picked this up, probably want to tune out now. Welcome to New America, an alternate past to our own in which the chemical fallout from World War III led to an explosion of crime in the U.S. Coupled with the war, it drove America towards totalitarianism. God, I hate that word. Totalitarianism. Yowza. New York is now the nation's prison, where madmen, murderers, thieves, and all of New America's undesirables are walled off from the rest of society and left to their own devices. It is a place of darkness and corruption, but also one where there is a great opportunity for adventure and heroism. Snake Plissken. Come on, everybody. Everybody in chat, all at once. I'm waiting. Flaming Heron says they've given up on movies getting most things right, and that's besides the artistic license most historical films, for instance, take. Yeah, I guess a lot of people were upset about Napoleon. I had not seen that. So Flaming Heron says, I thought you'd be bigger. Come on, that's not what I was looking for. Yes, I heard you were dead. I thought you were dead. Thank you, Russell Higgins. So we get the world of Escape from New York, some terminology, timeline, Snake Plissken. I think one of the big deals with Escape from New York when it first came out was Kurt Russell, because Kurt Russell had always been in family movies. He was in Disney movies. Flaming Heron says, hey, I'm right as well. I said, yeah, I know. And here he was in Escape from New York, which was an R-rated movie. And I was like, wow. So it looks like we're going to get quite a bit of background about New York, the Duke and his royal court, street gangs, the various different gangs here, neighborhoods, notable locations. You know, it was funny when Escape from LA came out. It was sort of, I I saw it. I didn't hate it. I know a lot of people hated it because I understood it was more tongue in cheek than anything else. But some of the special effects were just really, really shaky. Right, so we got new classes: Gutter Rats, Charming Hero; Motorhead, Agile Hero; Street Warrior, Strong Hero; some new feats, new weapons, such as the Harpoon Cannon, Sawed-off Shotgun, different gear. Yeah, it is pretty wild. Now, it's been a while since I watched Escape from New York, but it's pretty wild. Just the technology that they were predicting. It's pretty bizarre. So we got street cred for some new rules. The Crazies disease. What was that from? George Romero? The Crazies? So we got our GM advice, and then we get into our adventure. The adventure takes place 4 years before the events of Escape from New York. The heroes are pressed into service of the USPF and sent into New York to recover the arming codes for a nuclear bomb hidden in the head of the Statue of Liberty. Failure means nothing less than the destruction of New York and the death of the heroes. So the Madman says Kurt Russell doing an R-rated movie wasn't as much of a shocker as Julie Andrews going topless in a movie. Yeah. So Shanbot V42 says, yep, Disney Kurt to John Carpenter's The Thing Kurt and Escape. If I remember correctly, Escape from New York came out, I think it was a couple years before The Thing. All right, so we got some questions and answers. So as you can see, we've got a bit of a different art style to Escape from New York here. The Crazies are night raiders inhabiting the underground sections of New York, particularly the subways they have claimed as their own. The Crazies here are busy cooking up their latest victims, keeping warm by the fires and ranting at one another in their nonsensical speech. They are not expecting anyone coming up from the subway tunnels, but if they discover the heroes, they attack them aggressively and make noise to alert others nearby. So I guess maybe that's how the agents are getting into New York through the subway. Agent Especial is with us in chat. Good to see you. So looks like we've got some combat maps here. I didn't recall seeing many maps in The Crow. And here it seems like we've got things broken up by encounters. Yeah. So as we had in The Crow seemed to have been laid out by almost like by session. So Flaming Aaron says, I always forget the bit where the girl gets pulled underground by the Crazies in the movie. She doesn't get much time on screen for a speaking role. Madman says Escape from New York was 81. The Thing was 1982. So Escape from New York would have come out the summer of my freshman year in high school. But you know what? It's funny. I don't think Elliot went with us to go see it. Now I know I saw The Thing with Elliot, my best friend Elliot Miller, who I mention from time to time. So we've got a MacGuffin in here. Well, What would the MacGuffin be? Would the MacGuffin actually be the nuclear codes? Russell Higgins says, Adrian Barbeau, hubba hubba. Oh no, we are seeing this broken down by acts. So we get our acts and then each encounter. Because it appears that Everyday Heroes is more of a scene-based role-playing game. Kevin R. Smith says, as far as the characters, we have class groups based on each ability. So there's several types of strong hero. One is the street warrior. Yep. And that's how we see it broken down in the core rule book. So we've got our cast. So we've got our film antagonists. I always got a kick out of how there's Dr. Cronenberg. It's like, yeah, we know what that's a nod to. The Duke. Of course, the President of the United States is Donald Pleasance, who, if I remember correctly, Donald Pleasance was British. In fact, I think Donald Pleasance. No, was he English? Maybe he wasn't, because, well, then maybe he flew Lancaster bombers. Well, he wasn't the pilot, but he was the. I think he was a radio operator, if I remember correctly. So here we have our cast from the adventure. So wait a second, where's Snake Plissken? Well, that's supporting cast. Are we not going to get Snake? Come on, we got to get a Snake Plissken character. Flaming Heron says, yes, he is British. So I thought he's passed on. I didn't think he was still around. Duke of New York, A number one. All right. The cabbie. Oh, wait a second. Hang on. Hold on. There we go. There's Snake Plissken. I was going to say, we got to get Snake Plissken. He's an agile scoundrel. And then we got Cabby, Ernest Borgnine. Yeah, we get stats for Cabby's cab. Brain. Oh, gosh. I want to say Dean Stockwell, but it's not Dean Stockwell. Harry Stanton. Or Harry Dean Stanton was Brain. Maggie, yes. Adrian Barbeau. And we get some code name heroes who are pre-gen. So we got code name Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta. As well as Echo. And then we wrap up with our open game license. All right. So there you have the Escape from New York cinematic adventure. And of course, I will have reviews of Escape from New York. Whoops, grabbed the wrong one. And The Crow in the very near future. Shanbot V42 says Donald Pleasance passed away in 1995. Holy shit, that long ago? Wow. I was like, I'm thinking like, 2010 or something like that. All righty then. So, of course, tomorrow we are going to wrap up our Everyday Heroes week. Let me move on over to the other camera. There we go. For some reason, it wasn't switching over. And tomorrow we are going to take a peek at Rambo and the Universal Soldier cinematic adventures for Everyday Heroes. Very, very nice. And don't forget, next Tuesday marks the 1,000th live stream here on YouTube. Pretty wild. It's probably just going to be the news and Ask Me Anything. And if you want to get a question in for the AMA, by all means, email Jeff McAleer at thegaminggang.com. All righty then. So this is it for tonight's show. If you liked the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already, and if you do subscribe, be sure to ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings. Did I say Monday? Damn it. That's what happens when I'm grabbing, you saw me, I'm grabbing something off from the side. Kind of distracted me. So you'll be notified when the Dispatch streams Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube, as well as when I upload other videos, such as my upcoming first look at the Pathfinder 2nd Edition remastered project. See, I'm telling you, I can't talk tonight. Like, what the? You'll also be informed when I upload other videos, such as my upcoming first look at the Pathfinder 2nd Edition remastered project GM Core from Paizo Inc. And of course, you want to check out this video when it pops up, because I am giving away a copy of both the Player Core and GM Core to a lucky viewer. And I tell you in the videos how you can get into the running. And it's something you have to do with each of the videos to get into the running. So stay tuned on that. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you're watching live and took part in chat, a big tip of the cap, because not only are you keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company while I'm paging through a role-playing book or unboxing a board game, and it is much appreciated. But of course, I know a lot of you out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you for taking time out to watch any of the over 1,600 videos here on the YouTube channel. Yikes. Anyway, thank you very kindly for watching. I will be back tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. And of course, don't forget, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you won't find here on the YouTube channel. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. And as always, I hope all of you out there get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.